It's the No Kidding Podcast.
Welcome.
No Kidding Podcast. No Kidding Podcast.
That was terrifying. I was not expecting that second wave.
Can you please, at the beginning of this, put that really low-key music you normally put?
I always put it.
Like over the intro?
And then it leads into just full-on headbanger music.
Yeah, basically. Excellent. I'm loving it. All right. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. No, that's our theme song. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Loving it. Is that right? I didn't get the keys right. So there were all of those little freaking grasshoppers in your business.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. One landed on my window where I look every single morning when I wake up. Okay? Like, body there. I think you saw it. I posted it. But, smack dab right in the middle, and I woke up and I was like, and I always, in my head, I always sing, oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And then I roll over and start to get out of bed. Oh, what a beautiful feeling. And then all of a sudden, bam.
Thunk.
There's a huge
splat
grasshopper right in my face. Anyway, I can't handle him. I can't.
Right in your face? Right in your face?
Well,
he's crawling on your face?
He's okay, so I stretch and I look outside at the beautiful day. That's what I do every morning, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there he was, just right in the middle of my window, saying, hey girl, I'm staring at you, I'm watching you sleep, and I'm thinking about ways to kill you. I mean, I can only imagine the things running through his mind.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever see Hopper from Bug's Life?
I'd rather not. Oh, yeah, he was. That's true. Was it a Bug's Life or is it Ants, where the evil character was grasshoppers? Because they look evil. It's not just me. I knew it.
Sure.
Although I will take a little. I have a little. I don't know what the word is, but I want to do a corrections corner for someone else who I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I was watching a vlog of someone who was with her friend, and she's like, "Oh, let's go catch grasshoppers," and I was thinking, "Girl, what? You're crazy!" And then
what's wrong with you?
She goes out into the field.
Help.
And she starts, crouching down, and she's trying to catch these grasshoppers. So she catches one, she brings it over, and she's like, look, I caught one. I'm like waiting for, I don't know, my heart's pounding. I'm waiting for some horrible experience that I'm about to put myself through. It's one of those things. It's like a horror movie where you can't look away, but you want to see what happens next. So
it's like there's the quartet of violins going like. And you're like, I know. And she uncovers her palm, and what is there?
It's a teeny tiny green cricket. I mean, there's no way this thing's called a grasshopper. There's no way. It's so cute. It's small. It's got, to be fair, it's got the same type of body, but it's basically a super miniature version. And it's all this pretty green color. It's not this crazy mix of orange and black spotted, red, green, and white. I mean, there's no green on this one. So, all the weird colors that almost look, what's the word?
Demonic.
Demonic. Orange. It looks like fire, like orange, yellow, and black. But I mean, the skin looks kind of almost reptilian, whereas this one was it looked soft and whatever. Anyways, but it did have the same body, structure, with the legs and that go up like a cricket or a grasshopper legs.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but it was so cute, and I was like, okay, we need to talk about you. You can't be throwing grasshopper words out there like that when you're catching something like this.
All right, everybody, we need to have a discussion.
Yeah, let's talk about this. It must be. I think it's a cricket. I'm gonna look it up right now. I actually probably should have done that.
I like the idea that we're all trapped inside because of COVID, but you are trapped inside because of crickets.
No.
I think if there was no pandemic right now.
Okay, you made the mistake of saying crickets. We've talked about this. Crickets are fine. Okay, now all I'm getting is the sport cricket. I mean, can I get a little help here? Insect. And it's a cricket because crickets make beautiful songs, right? I mean, they sing. I mean, not beautiful. Okay, they can get kind of annoying. They go a little too far with their music, but But for the most part, like they try to communicate with sounds, right?
I like that some animals, most animals, honestly, just try and make the loudest racket when it's like their mating season or whatever. Like cicadas. Oh my God. It's like as a absolute unit, they all go out and just scream or rub their legs together as furiously as possible to produce the most tremendous noise floor
It's really
I've ever heard.
intense. That's true. It's like I have been in situations where I've had to cover my ears because it's just too much.
It's like when you're acting like you're in a nightclub, but you're just outside. And you're like, what? Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally. Totes McGee.
Totes but
I
goats.
thought it was Totes McGee.
Totes but goats.
Okay, well, anyway.
Totes McGee doesn't rhyme. It's not even a...
It doesn't have to rhyme. It's a haiku.
It's not nearly enough syllables.
Okay, well,
This is
anyways.
unreasonable.
Anyway, so...
It's not even an alliteration. Thumbs down. Thumbs down, Totes McGee. Do you remember McGee and Me?
I do. Okay. I love that show. I loved it.
That's a pretty good show.
People need to look that up. If you have kids, preferably around the age of... What would you say? Like 10?
13, sure.
8, 9, 10? Maybe like 7, 8, 9, 10? Actually...
13 or lower.
Yeah. But not too low, because there are some, I feel like, older like topics for maybe like a 3-year-old. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe like 4 to 13. Let's go with that.
That's one of those family wholesome shows that there's like a what do you call it? A lesson to be learned at the end of every episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. Is it a Christian show? Is it Christian based?
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those like companies that they're like Christian owned, but they're not Christian forward. It's not like Veggie Tales, but it's like it could be.
Yeah.
It could have that influence in the background.
But anyways, there's just some really good quality episodes.
For anyone that doesn't know, McGee and Me is about a boy that draws his imaginary friend to life. Is that right?
Yeah.
But only he can see him. So it's really just his imaginary friend. But, it's just him and his pal going through, getting into hijinks. But his pal is animated.
Right, exactly. I was going to possibly read the, synopsis in a way.
Do it.
Oh, it is. It's Christian. So it is an American Christian television series created by Ken C. Johnson and Bill Myers. The series premiered on June 4th, 1989, spanning 12 episodes. That's it? I feel like there were so many more. And one special until its conclusion on June 11th, 1995. Each half hour. And it was only a half an hour? Gosh, it felt like so much more.
Hang on. It was 12 episodes, but it went on for 6 years?
Oh.
How?
Maybe it means 12 seasons.
They do... I don't know. I didn't see that many episodes. I could imagine there was only 12, but...
I thought they were so much more and so much longer. But maybe it's because you're a kid. You just...
But they only do 2 episodes a year?
It's kind of like
plus
us.
the special?
We should do a special. Just...
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is our special. You didn't know? Welcome to our special.
You are
it's
special. It's always
You can
special.
tell it's special by the way that it's special.
It's always special because it's us.
Exactly.
But yeah,
That's what I
basically
like to say.
he's an 11-year-old aspiring artist and cartoonist who lives with his family and blah blah blah. Anyway, they just go through like little adventures together, and it's just one of the ones that always stands out to me was it the hurricane episode, or do you remember that one where there was a hurrcane and the tree breaks through the window?
Yeah, I do remember that one.
He's like scared, and I think that resonated with me because that's like a true thing that could happen to us.
What, living in a heavily treed city with hurricanes hitting all the time?
So anyway, that was a great show. You guys should check it out.
Heavily treed city.
If you can.
I'm going to search other heavily treed cities.
The
one that always stuck with me was the one where they went camping in like Montana.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know why, but every time I see that cup, that like classic camping cup,
yeah,
I always think of McGee and Me. Like that, you probably know it.
Yeah,
it's like,
I do. Yeah.
It's tin or metal of some kind, and
it's got
it's like a mug, but it's like speckled
yeah.
and blue. Yeah.
Yeah. I know the one. So if anybody else knows of a childhood, like a really good childhood show you used to watch, let me know. I've been getting into more retro stuff. So
How about Avatar: The Last Airbender? Have you watched that yet, Lisa?
oh duh. I haven't had a chance to get around to it yet. But
Lisa,
it's on my list of things to watch for sure.
I can't believe it. It's a phenomenon. It's a worldwide phenomenon. It's about benders, people with the ability to control the elements.
Is it now?
Yeah, and there is one special bender called the Avatar that can bend all of the elements. That's right.
Wow.
And it's his responsibility to bring balance to the world.
Okay.
But the world is in a very unbalanced state right now. So conflict.
Always.
Story.
There's always a conflict and then a
Well,
resolution.
there wasn't. There actually before there wasn't conflict, but then the Fire Nation attacked.
Oh, dang.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
And so they had to create a TV show to express their challenges and their adventures. So, Do you know these shows that have like a main conflict at the beginning of the season or whatever, or the beginning of the show, and then they realize this show's actually good, and so
it has too many legs. It has too much leg for this small conflict we put before them.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they're like, this is like a 3-season conflict, but we want it to go forever.
Yes, exactly. And then they just drag out the conflict, and you're like, gosh, guys, just end it. And I will say that happens a lot, and then it just like usually ruins a show or whatever, or they drag it out too long, or like, let's not even get into the show Lost. Okay, can we all agree that was just a nosedive of a show? Like, it was just horrible because they never came through with a conclusion. Did they? I don't know. I gave up because
there was a conclusion.
There was. I never finished it. I got tired of it. You did?
Yeah.
It was one of those seasons or shows
I guess I wouldn't ruin it for
but
you.
you know what I'm talking about, how they dragged it out so long.
Yeah,
it was
Marble
like
Hornets.
teaser after teaser after teaser. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't play games. At some point, you need to give me something real or I'm off. So
I don't play games. Watch this Game of Thrones.
True, but
how'd you feel about that one?
I actually gave up on that one too, but it wasn't for the same
Wow.
reason. It was more because it was kind of intense and taking in that much intensity. That's one of those shows that is not, I don't believe, is meant to be binged because you need some space between those.
I think
shows.
it's like it's season binging. I feel like you go for a season and then you go, whew, let me cool off here.
Right.
Wow, that was how about that?
Exactly. There's a lot of feelings going on, so I'm like, I can't feel stuff like this for a while, So I go into what's the word? Psychopathic mode where I just turn off all my feelings for a few, and then eventually maybe I'll get back into it, but not right now. Anyways,
go into a shocked state.
Okay, yes, exactly. But I was going to say, there is one show that actually handled this dilemma very well, and if you've never seen The Mentalist, it's a pretty good show. And
is it about a crazy guy?
It's about a guy who used to pretend like he was a psychic. But then he pissed off a serial killer, and the serial killer killed his family. And so then he kind of goes... So
it's like dark psych.
Kind of, yeah. Yes. It's a lot. They actually make a lot of references about each other because they're very similar. It's good. There's comedy in it too, though. It's kind of like it's like a comedy drama.
It's a light dark psych.
Yes, exactly. So...
It's a gray psych.
The conflict is, so now the psychic like comes clean and says, I'm not really a psychic, I'm a mentalist. I make conclusions based off of, I'm just really good at, like noticing things and whatever. And so he starts working with the police to find the serial killer. So
not like psych.
So yeah, there are differences, but there's similarities too. So because he does the whole thing where it's basically the opposite, because he, like in psych, he's trying to fool
Keep
people.
Keep up the pretense.
Yeah, and the other way around is they're like, you're psychic. And he's like, I'm not psychic. There's no such thing as psychics, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, so they run this course of like him and the serial killer having this conflict. But they get to a point where they're like, okay, this season, this is going to go too long. Like, we're too good of a show that they don't drag it out. They I think it's like maybe season 3 or 4, I can't remember, where they basically end that conflict. And then
They resolve it.
They resolve it. And then when they start back up the new season that continues, they reinvent the show almost. But
Wow.
they do it in a way where it's not alienating to the audience. It doesn't give you like that turned off feeling. It's kind of like you accept it. You accept that however they managed to evolve the show to that. They completely redid it, and now it has it's like a whole new show, but with the same characters, but it works.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was I liked the way that a lot of shows can't do that. So
yeah, I think also a lot of the times networks won't allow it, or whoever's making it. Like, it's kind of an unsafe bet to say, like, we have this show that's doing really well. We're going to like dramatically change the format and like really like do some like dangerous stuff with the plot lines and stuff that could potentially lose us like huge swaths of the audience.
True. Yeah. And it happens.
But you can respect the storyline so much more when they do that, though. Like, I know there's several shows that I would say did pretty well with that kind of thing. Like, actually, Avatar is one of them that which started this conversation. That they had like a predefined arc, they completed that arc, and then that was the end of the show. Like, they ended it when like that's like they went from A to B, and they did the same thing I think with Breaking Bad and I don't know, a few others, but I like that they were willing to do that. And then like afterwards, because the show did so well, they were able to do like spin-off series and stuff, which I think is a fine way to do, follow-ups and stuff. I hear Better Call Saul is really great. I haven't started watching it though.
I've heard that
and
too.
then that's like that's the risk, right? Because like I was a big fan of Breaking Bad, but something about that shift, I just never got hooked on Better Call Saul, so
yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. But I was also watching a show that did not do that, and I can't remember the name.
Supernatural.
Oh, I think it was called Taken. I think it was like a spin-off of the movies.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Okay, so
Did it have Liam Neeson or anything in it?
No. It was a totally nobody cast.
Right.
Like new, like I didn't really know anybody except for maybe that one or two.
Fresh
people.
faces.
Yeah. Basically, I watched the whole first season. There was 2 seasons out. The whole first season I watched was pretty good, and I was like ready for the next season. They had a pretty big cliffhanger. Okay, they went into the new season, completely different show. Never explained it. Never explained where these people are that are no longer there.
Oh, wow.
like completely different show. And I was like, I can't do this. I've invested. I was invested in the other plot, and now I don't know what's happening. But there was only 2 people. The main character, the guy who was like the Taken guy, like that went after everybody, and then his boss. And those were the only 2 people that were the same for the following season. And there was a lot of people involved in their team. So they had a team of people. And there was probably like, I don't know, like 5 people that didn't come back. And there was one person who at the end was like on the verge of death. And then the new season wasn't there, but they didn't say, well, did they survive? Did they not survive? We don't know.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Oh, it was so annoying.
That's wild. Was it did they want to do like an anthology thing? Like where they just started a new story? Was it in the same universe? Like, it's wild.
No, it was the same like universe, but like, so at the end, the only consistency they had was that the main character got kidnapped or like taken himself.
Uh-huh.
And the weird thing about that is, it's almost like they went ahead in time, like years, but just didn't explain that they did that. And so it comes back where he's in prison in this different country, and he's almost like a completely different person because of his time in prison. It's like changed him, and like, I don't know. And then he's
loopy.
Yeah. And then his team wasn't there anymore. So then they had to construct a new team. I don't know. There was just so many different layers.
That's pretty wild. It actually reminded me of Prison Break. Didn't that show change a lot too? Like over the course of the seasons?
I don't know that I think I might have watched like a couple episodes of that show, but never I never watched even a whole season.
I think that's the thing where like they got to a point where they're like, well, I mean, you got to break out of prison, right?
Yeah, exactly. Eventually.
That's the name
That's
of the
kind
show.
of the name.
So,
That's true.
then they're just out of prison. It's called Prison Break.
So it's
like somebody who like came up with a great pilot episode and hook with the whole like, and it's called Prison Break. Guess what they're gonna do?
Stay in
And
prison
then they're
forever.
like, oh, what do we actually? How do we make this a reoccurring show that has multiple seasons? We have them be captured over and over again, break from prison every year. Every year a new prison break. That's how like The Walking Dead started feeling after a while. It was like after a while they're like, and now this place goes to hell, and, and then it's like they start to set up a place somewhere else and grow food and curate medicine, and it's like, I guess what's gonna happen here?
I don't know.
Something bad, that's for sure.
Something bad.
And it's usually gonna be connected with some megalomaniac guy who's got some problem with the main cast for some weird reason.
Yeah, there are some really weird shows out there. Oh, some shows that I've been loving lately. Let's talk about that.
What have you been loving, Lisa?
Okay, loving might be a little too extreme of a comment. It's kind of like I've just been enjoying, here and there some new types of shows. One of those shows unexpectedly was good was Warrior Nun. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of Warrior Nun? It's called Warrior Nun, like a warrior.
Hold on. Say it 3 times fast.
No.
I bet Warrior Nun could do it.
Oh, true. Warrior Nun, Warrior Nun, Warrior Nun.
Oh!
Dang, I'm good at that.
Wow.
I feel like I kind of have a stuffy nose all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's the COVID kicking in.
Okay, do you want to touch on that? I had a COVID scare. I had to call into work because I got a really bad cold. I had a fever. I had all the symptoms. And sorry, hold on, I have to cough.
Oh God, it's not a COVID scare. It's real. You're dying.
Help. No. Yeah. So I got really sick, and I had to report it, obviously, and then I had to go into quarantine, and then I had to be tested for work. And
how'd you get sick, Lisa?
The test was
supposed to be quarantined.
The test takes forever to get back, and I have to have 2 negative tests before I return to work because I work in a medical field. And so I was basically unable to go back to field work, we'll call it, for like 3 weeks.
At least you're not a warrior nun.
Well, I wish I was. Actually, I don't. I do and I don't because, I mean, it's a pretty intense job, I will say. It's not the easiest.
No COVID risk, though.
Oh, that's true. She heals. She can heal.
Oh,
so.
What?
Yeah, because...
Why? Is this an anime? This screams anime to me.
No, but it is... Is it... Okay, sometimes I get confused. Science fiction versus...
Fantasy?
Fantasy science?
Cyberpunk.
I'm thinking of a different word. But I don't know if it's science fiction. Anyways, basically, let me tell you a little bit about Warrior Nun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so... she is like 20 or something like that. She spent her whole life.
Young nun.
She's a young nun. Well, she's not a nun, but she spent her whole life in a convent as a cripple. So she got in a car accident when she was like 5. Her mother died, and she was paralyzed from the neck down. And then, so she grew up like her whole life, and she hated her life.
It's gonna be like Daredevil.
I don't know. What's Daredevil like? Is that like that? Or should they get like a superpower and then... I don't really know about that.
He got like blinded by a chemical truck or something, and then it infused him with the power to echolocate.
Oh, dang, yeah. That's nice.
Anyways. But he's blind. But he
not
can
quite
echolocate.
The same. Oh, it's kind of like LaForge on Star Trek.
LaForge?
LaForge. What's his name?
LeVar Burton?
Yeah, from Reading Rainbow. That's another great childhood show. Is this the same episode we're talking about childhood shows? Yeah. I get them confused sometimes. So
back in the other episode, add that to the childhood shows list.
Yeah, Reading Rainbow. Get on that. Anyways, so she dies because there's this crazy. Well, I won't give it away. She dies in a strange amount of.
How is she dies? Not giving it away.
Well, you'll see. I won't say how she dies. Because there's 2 possible scenarios of how she dies. And I won't say which one it is. So, because that's part of the plot. So, anyways, okay. She dies. And then she's in the morgue. And there's this crazy demon that comes and is attacking.
Is it a grasshopper?
It could be. It could be a morphed grasshopper that grew to be probably like 500 times my size.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. I think he's called a demigod or something. I don't know.
A demi-hopper?
Yes, a demihopper. Could you imagine? I would literally be in hell. So, anyway, so there's these groups.
Well, this is intense.
Of a warrior
How
nuns.
can a demi-demon attack a parsonage, or what was it, a convent?
Okay, well, it wasn't attacking the convent per se. It was so there's already these warrior nuns that, well, I don't know if they're called warrior nuns, but it's a group of nuns that fight evil, the like supernatural evil, so other demons and things, and so they were doing that. They were out doing their normal rounds.
Sure.
But
yeah,
then
like
this
you do.
huge
Demon
demigod came to.
Was it oryx?
No. You're in a different fantasy world. That's a different
Okay.
world. So
Sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. So, basically, long story short, the original warrior nun dies. The halo, which is in her back, the supposed angel halo, gets implanted in. It's like it only gets put in chosen.
Was it a
people.
weapon of mass destruction that wipes all sentient life from the galaxy?
Yeah. Well, I won't give any spoilers away, but it's a very powerful thing. And
Okay.
so, anyways, so this demigod, because it came out of the nun, can smell it. He wants it. He's going for it. He's coming at them.
What the
They
heck?
run to hide in this convent where the morgue is, where the girl is. They have this halo thing, and they're trying to hide it. So they shove it into the dead girl, who is this girl. And anyway, it brings her back to life, and she becomes the warrior nun. And she goes through all the things of like not wanting to be the warrior nun, and then they have to figure out how she can be the warrior nun, and like then she's chased by both the convent and the devil, and she's trying to have a love life in the middle of it all. So
This sounds awesome.
it's pretty crazy, and I was like, oh,
Who came
wow,
up with this show?
that is like a really strange show. I didn't think I'd be that into it, but the more I watched it, I was like, oh, this is pretty.
You have only made it sound more like an anime, though.
Okay, well, go for it. You guys are probably fully. And plus, the real reason that I'm like so into it is because it's like a girl kicking butt, and I'm like, I'm there for it.
It's always fun. Strong female leads.
Exactly. So,
Gotta love Alien.
Oh, and there's like this whole other. There's so many plot lines. I can't even get into them all. So, just go watch it, enjoy. And then the other show that I was into that again is like kind of outside of my usual is another kind of like fantasy type. I guess maybe it's like a fantasy, but I'm trying to even remember
Not
the name
sci-fi.
of it. How could I forget the name of it? But basically, there's these bad guys who are again religious. They're like from the Catholic Church or whatever. I don't know what. I don't really know what they are, but I think they represent that, and they are killing all of the Fae. Do you know what Fae are? So,
the little like fairy people?
yeah, like the fairy people.
That's messed up.
I know.
What
And
the heck? Or is it because they're pagans?
it's just because like that like they think they're lesser, and they're like they're like not good for the earth. So I don't know.
That sounds like Sabrina.
And there's this, what's he called? He's like he's got a name. He has like tattoos that look like he's crying, so he's called like the sad monk or something like that. But he's like the best. He can like kill any fae. He's like insane. He's got like superpowers basically. So he's like their main, rival or whatever. And so basically it's like the story of the fae trying to hide, but then there's also this girl who's again like a strong female lead. She's the chosen one, and she has to sort of save the fae, but she's like meek and doesn't really want that job, and she fights through whether or not she should, and turns against it, and then comes back to it, and then tries so it's like this. But then there's a lot of dying, and there's a lot of saving, and there's a lot of whatever. So that's another decent show. Oh, let me find out what the name of that is so I can actually recommend it. Show.
That sounds intense. Have you watched Dark yet?
I have. I actually watched that years ago. But I don't. Again, it's one of those ones where you watch it and then you totally forget about it, and then a new season comes out and you forgot everything about the first season.
Oh,
So
well,
it's-
that's not going to work with Dark. You got to rewatch the
I
first
know,
season.
that's probably, I'm going to have to do that.
Well, it's weird. I guess it was years ago. Yeah, because it's on the third season. So I still think of it as like a new show, but
You should see that. Oh, also, have you seen The Rain? The Rain is similar to Dark.
oh yeah, it's raining right now.
No, I mean, there's like a show called The Rain. It's in another language, but
Is it also German?
I think so. But it's kind of like End of Days.
What's with these German TV shows?
I don't know, but I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm good with. I actually kind of like foreign shows because they have like a whole nother level of intensity or like perspective, and sometimes they're better. They're not as blockbusterish. They're not too refined and cleaned up and put together, but it's nice. It's cozy. That's what it is. It's like it gives you kind of like a cozy vibe. But anyways, I'm trying to find what the name of that show is so that I can recommend it to my fellow friends here. Oh, I also watched, this was a while ago, but it reminded me because the Fae, but the show Carnival Row, if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into like fantasy or whatever, Carnival Row is also a good show about that. Oh, it was called Cursed.
There was an MTV show that wasn't bad. It was the Shannara Chronicles. That wasn't a bad show.
What is it called?
It screams a little. If we're talking about fantasy shows, the Shannara Chronicles.
Shannara.
It wasn't bad. It's a little bit like Percy Jackson. Have you heard of the young adult series Percy Jackson?
No.
It's kind of that like same vibe, I guess,
Okay.
but like not super high quality. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. It's got some decent budget behind it, but I don't know. It's got some weak spots. It's got some other strong qualities about it. I think it's worth at least giving a watch if you like fantasy TV shows.
Okay. I mean, lately I've been liking the two I watched, so yeah, I might like it.
So what were the two?
It was Warrior Nun and Cursed was the other one.
Cursed. I might have seen that. That's such a basic name, though. I feel like there's probably 3 shows named Cursed.
Well, if you just look up Cursed on Netflix, I think.
Yeah, I've definitely
It'll come
seen
up.
this image.
And it was the Weeping Monk that I was thinking of. And then Carnival Row was the other one.
I see. I feel like there's been a lot of there's been like a huge series of like witches and like witchcraft style like shows that came out recently. There was what are they all? There's like The Order, there's Sabrina, there's one where they're in like a secret convent. There's a few of them. I don't know. There's an Uprising and that style show.
Secret convent, huh?
Yeah, I forget what it's called. It's not The Order. There's another one, but it's very similar. It's like The League or something. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, I think it was The League. I mean, that sounds familiar, so.
Well, The League is like a comedy show, right?
Oh. Oh, that
Right?
about
That's like that.
about
yeah.
sports, yeah.
Yeah, that's a totally different show. But it was something like The Secret Cult or something. I don't know.
Okay,
Hold
well,
on,
that was a
let
good
me just-
recommendation for our fans. There's Witch Chronicles of Narnia.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I bring up which TV shows, comes up with Cursed, The Order, Vampire Diaries, of course, Sabrina, Once Upon a Time, that's true, Legacies, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Hey, anime. No, I don't know. Can't figure it out. Have you seen Penny Dreadful?
Penny, I've heard of that, but no, I haven't seen it.
That's one of those shows, I was just going to say, that's one of those shows that I hear about all the time. It's like Downton Abbey. It's another one. And Man in the High Tower. And yeah, there's a bunch of shows that I keep like hearing about in a cursory, peripheral way. But I don't know. It's like I don't even know anybody in my immediate circle that like has watched any of those shows, so I find it difficult to like find the motivation to watch them. But I hear they're really good.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is like whenever people recommend shows, I think okay, yeah, that sounds good. But then there with so much content in out there, there's always something that will either catch my eye or is already on my list of things to watch, or I don't know. There's so many things. Like people recommend stuff to me all the time, and I think, oh yeah, I'll get around to watching that, and never do. So, I know.
But it's also fun to be the person, like one of the few people in your group that have watched something. Like you can be like, oh, I have seen that, and it's really good.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you can
I'm never that
talk
person,
about
though.
it.
I'm always the person that hasn't seen it. And I think I just watch different shows than like the people I'm around watch. And I think...
Well, that's good. You bring in, because then you can talk about those shows.
True. To be honest, though, I think a lot of the people that I'm around just don't watch shows, or at least they don't admit that they watch shows.
They just don't get it.
I'm like,
Don't
how do you
admit
not
that they
watch?
watch
How do you
shows.
not watch TV ever? Like, I understand making it not the priority, but you know,
There's a lot of places to get entertainment these days.
on a rainy day at home at night, you're telling me you don't kick on a Netflix show once in a while?
Maybe they watch YouTube,
Or well, that's true. That's possible.
or maybe they Twitch it up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's lots of different ways to get entertainment. But see, I feel like, yeah, I guess it depends on the person. When I watch Twitch, or I watch YouTube, or I watch anything else, it's usually a form of learning in some way, where it's like, I feel like at this point I have to almost like engage in some way where I'm gaining information. Whereas a show, I'm just kind of, okay, relaxing, enjoying it. But
Well, you should play games.
what do you mean? Oh, I do. I play Sherlock. That's the only video game I play.
That's a way to escape to another world.
Well, yeah,
Oh, have you watched the TV show Sherlock?
of course. That's a great show.
Which one? Because there's also like Elementary, which I don't think is still on.
I've seen a few of them, but I've seen the movies and I've seen the shows. I'm talking
Referring to the BBC one.
Yeah, that's my favorite one for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the right one.
Yeah,
That's the correct
Did
answer.
you know they came out with a movie that's like a comedy, a Sherlock Holmes comedy, and it has like Will Ferrell and somebody else in it. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's horrible. I was so excited to see it. I was like, oh, that's going to be great. But I've heard so many bad things about it that now I'm like, do I really want to be disappointed? So,
Well, now you can't be disappointed because you'll go in expecting to be disappointed.
True. But
They couldn't possibly shoot lower than your lowest expectations, could they?
I guess not. That's very true. But it's only on Stars, and I actually have a Stars membership right now. Like, I got a free trial or whatever, and it ends this month. So if I watch it, I have to watch it before the end of the month.
So how many seasons of Sherlock are there right now?
Of the British one?
Yeah, the British one.
Well, it ended. I mean, they don't do them anymore. But
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I figured it ended. But I wasn't sure how many they ended on, I guess.
I think they only had like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, it's pretty short. Because they even do like the shorter episodes, right? Or like they don't have that many episodes, but the episodes are longer.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, it's weird. And they make them like every 2 years or something. It's weird.
Right. Let's see. They have a total of 4 series and a Christmas minisode.
Minisode. So like a special.
I guess so, yeah. But
They're just like McGee and me.
yeah, and they have 3 episodes in each series. So
That's pretty wild.
yeah.
It's like a 2 intermission movie.
But they're pretty, yeah, like you said, they're longer. And they're just so good. Even if you're not into Sherlock per se, it's a good show. And the actors are really good. And
Yeah,
the guy who
both
plays
those actors are excellent.
Moriarty is really good at that role, I feel.
Yeah.
And actually everybody's good at their role. So I will say,
Nailed it.
yeah, they
Nailed it on the casting.
They sure did. I love when that happens. Like when they just get it, they get the casting perfect. What's another show that does that?
I feel like they're the example for so many things right now, but Breaking Bad, I feel like nailed the casting.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that's one.
So everybody in that show was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think shout out to, I mean, everyone knows Bryan Cranston nailed it, knocked it out of the park. But the guy who played Mike, the like ex-cop.
Oh yeah.
That guy was awesome.
Yeah, he was. They were all good. I mean, yeah, they did a good job at that. Sometimes these people get it right.
Yeah, true.
And sometimes they get it horribly, horribly wrong.
Like, do you have any examples of that?
Most shows, I'd say.
I guess most of them get canceled and we forget about them.
Exactly. No, but I don't know. There have been some where...
I'll say the Shannara Chronicles.
Are they terrible?
I feel like that's part of it. My issue with it is that I feel like the writing's good, the effects are okay, but they also got some kind of like not great actors.
True.
Actresses.
I know what you mean.
It's all, and they're like delivering these like fantasy lines and stuff, and they're just like, I am an elf and I need to go to Highland to do thing. And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Sounds very not Lord of the Rings right now. I'm not swept away into a faraway land.
No, that's the thing is like you have to buy into it, and you can't do that when the acting is just not there. So it's very important.
I don't know.
Well, the writing is part of it too, because there are some like good actors that, you know, if the writing is terrible, it's hard to act that. I don't know. It has to flow. It has to make sense. I don't know. I feel like that's true for most sitcoms, where I know technically they're supposed to be kind of cheesy, you know, but some sitcoms, I think they use that. They try to use that as like a coping mechanism to make a really bad show and say, oh, but it's just a sitcom, a cheesy sitcom. That's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like that. When no, it's not.
We just needed something to fill that airtime. We didn't need to actually, try and put any effort or quality into it.
Yeah. So that's disappointing, but
Malcolm in the Middle was good. Another time that Bryan Cranston knocked it out of the park.
Okay. I never really watched that show.
Totally different character too. So it was pretty wild to see him as he actually kind of starts as his character in Breaking Bad. It's almost like he starts as Hank from Malcolm in the Middle, and then he like slowly turns into Walter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is a few times in Malcolm in the Middle where you see that he has like a wild side. So it's interesting.
So you can believe it. Maybe that was part of the belief, is because a lot of times when actors are in different things, you only see them as that person, and then you can't take them seriously in a different role. But if you've kind of seen a version of him, and you know, like it, but of course I didn't see him in the other role, so for me it was an easy buy-in.
But it was also like super goofy. Like Malcolm in the Middle is a very just like wacky show, so it's interesting to see him go from goofy like bees to being like, I am the danger.
Yes. See, I have that problem with people like Stephen Carell, who's always been in pretty much comedies, and also who else? What's his name?
Adam Sandler.
Well, yeah, I guess if he ever tried to do a really serious role, that would be hard.
Oh, he has. That's true. He's done a lot of his movies recently have been kind of serious.
Okay, well, that's probably why I haven't seen them. But
apparently they're pretty good. I don't know.
Who's the guy that Jim Carrey? That's something of. Like Jim Carrey.
Yes.
He's gone real dark. And like Jennifer Aniston. I don't know. Just certain people, they don't translate the same. And I don't know if it is because of the previous perception that now you have this preconceived idea of how they should be on screen versus maybe they just don't have the range. So it's hard to know for sure, but
it's like, is this am I unable to separate myself from the bias, or are they not able to separate me from the bias?
Yeah. So
probably
I don't know,
a combination
because
of
I'm
both.
not totally against people, because I think it's fair enough. Fair, you know, like you don't want to be pigeonholed, and you want to, if it's your job. If it were me, I would want to explore the ranges of my job or my whatever I could do, especially if I have the comfort of not failing because I already am supported by my financial means or whatever. But I can also understand being a personal brand and not getting upset if you flop because your audience sees you as one way versus another way, because you kind of have, I don't know. But I will say that I did watch Jim Carrey in the movie 23. Did you ever see that movie?
That's exactly what I thought of when you said him being serious.
Yeah. I mean,
but
it wasn't bad. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah?
Yeah, he did. It was
I bet he seems like a genuinely good actor. But...
Yeah, he does. I think he has a little bit more range because he is very versatile in terms of his character developments. Like, he's done so many different characters. Kind of like, what's his name? Johnny Depp has, like, kind of more of a range.
Right.
He can be serious and also funny. But he's always been serious and also funny, so it's easier to see him in different roles.
He's played a good, like, middle road from the beginning. It's harder once you're pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Like most of the cast of those original, like, sitcom 90s sitcoms where it was like you don't really see like Chandler or George Costanza doing anything. Matthew Perry or Alexander.
Yeah, they are. They're in things.
They're in things.
Oh yeah, like I think one of what's his name? What's his real name? Matthew Perry. Yeah. Matt
LeBlanc?
No, Matthew Perry. He did something serious too, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like once we already have like years of experiencing him as like the goofy guy. Like you can't undo that in an hour role or whatever, an hour of screen time.
Exactly. So
it's difficult.
I don't know. Do you have any more recommendations for people? Movie wise or game wise or food wise?
Yes.
Okay.
You should play Factorio. It's an amazing game. It's great.
Factorio?
Yeah. And actually, I think I recommended it last time.
Okay.
So I'll also recommend something I've recommended, which is Master Chief Collection.
Oh, yes.
Get out there. You can buy a Halo game for $10 if you buy them separately on PC. It's great. And they're updating them all the time. Fantastic. And for food, I will say that Jinya downtown, the ramen bar.
Yes, I've been wanting to try it.
They have added an amazing vegan menu.
Really?
Yeah, they have this like little. You can get their vegan ramen. I say vegan menu, but they've just added like one of each thing to each section of their menu that's vegan.
Well, keep going.
But
I get really excited about this.
Okay, they added this thing, and it's actually really great because it allows you to do the full. They have like a meal option where you can get like a starter bowl with the ramen itself or like some kind of side. Like generally what I would get is like the black tonkatsu with pork gyoza side, like they're like pot sticker kind of things.
Okay, yeah.
And
yum.
But this is a vegan option that gives you a full like creamy style vegan ramen with a side bowl that's like, it's so delicious. This bowl, it's like rice, it's got all these very interesting vegetables, a lot of them that have like either a different flavor than I'm used to, or they're just like a vegetable that I'm like, what is this? Like they have this purple stuff that I don't even know. And also they did something with their chickpeas that befuddles me.
Befuddles you? Oh my gosh.
They're like, how do I even describe them? They're like crispy. Have you ever had a crispy chickpea?
I have, yeah.
How do they do it? It's not like crunchy. It's like a cheese puff almost.
Right.
Like it's like they've like air fried it or something, and it's become like this light, fluffy, like airy, like crisp.
Yeah,
thing.
They sell those like in the store. They sell them like chips, but they're chickpeas instead.
They're delicious, and they got like a little bit of oil on them and everything, and they're mixed in with this bowl.
Speaking my love language
so
over here. That sounds delicious.
And then for shows, hang on, I'm doing the full spectrum.
Well, wait, because I want to make a comment about the ramen bar, because actually somebody that I follow who goes there quite often, she gets the spicy vegan bowl, which I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
And
I add the spice, but yes.
You add it? Why don't you just get the spicy vegan bowl?
Well, I think there is a spicy vegan bowl, or maybe I'm thinking of the ramen, which is a different place. No, yeah, yeah, you're right. The one that they came out with was the spicy vegan, but you can also, there she goes again, squeaking.
She just wants to play. But anyway, she substitutes, because you can substitute things out, and she doesn't, and that one comes with tofu, and she substitutes out the tofu and puts broccoli instead. So it just looks phenomenal to me, and I'm like, I need to try that. Whenever she posts it, I'm like, why have I not tried this yet? But anyway, so your show recommendation?
Yeah, their ramen selection is delectable. And then my surprise, it's not a show I'd normally watch, but I think it was Dear Victor was a surprisingly good show.
Oh, what's that about?
On Netflix. It's like a kid that's like super confused about his sexuality in like high school.
Okay.
And it's just an interesting show. It's an interesting take on the human experience, I'd say.
Okay. Is that like a drama, would you say?
I guess it's like, yeah, sure. I guess it's a drama, but it's not very dramatic. I guess it's a little dramatic. It's not like super drama-y like some shows. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say it's a drama.
Okay. This is probably nothing like it, but it's just reminded me of it.
It's Love Victor.
Oh, Love Victor instead of Dear Victor.
Like as in signing off.
Right. Oh.
I think it's a sequel or like a spiritual sequel. No, I think it's a direct sequel to something which is like Dear Simon or something.
Oh. Is it like a suicide thing?
No.
Okay.
It was Love Simon as well. That's apparently another thing. It was like a movie or something in 2018. It's a romantic comedy drama film directed by Greg Berlanti.
Okay, so there is a little bit of humor in there.
Yeah, it's a fun show. It's nothing like crazy, but
okay,
it's interesting. It wouldn't have been something I would normally pick off of Netflix, but it was just watched around me, and I was like, oh wow, this is a really good show.
Cool. Piggybacking off of that, it's probably nothing similar about it, but it just reminded me of it, was the show called Never Have I Ever. I might have recommended this before. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've heard you.
I watched it it was a while ago that I watched it, but it was one of those shows that was surprisingly good and actually pretty funny. And as far as it kind of feels more like a sitcom, but as far as sitcoms go, it was well cast and well done. It wasn't like cheesy and cringy and whatever, but it's pretty funny. So I recommend it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Anything else you got?
What do you recommend as far as games?
I really only play Sherlock, so I recommend Sherlock.
So that one.
So there's that one. There's Nancy Drew, which you can get into if you're into that. Similar dynamic, but a little different. I prefer Sherlock, but I like a good Nancy Drew once in a while. I've been trying to get into card games. Nobody will play with me, so I don't know what to say, but I have some card games to recommend to people who have friends. So, other than me.
Hey, I have, I know I didn't tell you about this. I don't think I told you about this. So I'm sorry, but I did get Tabletop Simulator.
You did?
I did.
Maybe we can play a game then, a card game.
So yeah, if you're into that.
I don't understand, like, you can design your own game, or are there pre-games? Like, because I would want to design my own, I guess, because I don't know if these games are on there.
Well, the thing is that it's a community-driven thing. So they give you the tools to create games and then share them with other people. So there's like libraries and stuff where you can go to.
Oh, so these games might already be on there.
Yeah, because if anybody was interested in playing them, they might have already made them and uploaded them.
Okay.
As a thing you can play.
This card game that I'm about to recommend is my number one top favorite game, or card game. But
wow,
I don't know if that's saying a lot, because obviously I haven't been able to play the other games with friends. This is just a game I used to play like in college and stuff when I had friends, which I no longer have.
What does that mean? It
means I've played this game multiple times, whereas I have never played these other games with anybody other than myself. So anyways, we'll put my
so sad. Moving right along.
Yeah, let's just move on. So my favorite game is called Kimps, and this game would not work on Tabletop Simulator because I don't know. Have you played this game?
Was this one of those that has a bad word?
No.
Alternative name?
Maybe. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
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 I've played this.
Okay, so you have to be in teams and have like signals.
Yeah, right. It's all about like, that would be very difficult over
Do you see what I'm saying?
Tabletop Simulator.
Right. But, okay, so we can move on. So the other...
Well...
What?
I don't know. There could be something.
I guess maybe. If you have like certain like keystrokes,
what you might
could be your like
what
your
you might
signal.
be able to do is drop some items on the table,
Uh-huh.
like drop some random figurines and stuff, because like there's libraries and stuff in there for like D&D and stuff. They have all kinds of models and.
But you'd
other
have to have
things
like
for
a
their,
separate
like,
chat so nobody else knows what you're.
I'm saying no, that'd be too easy, because then you could just type to the other person like, I have the thing.
Oh, true.
But you could put you could pile a bunch of like random objects on the middle of the table, and then you could mess around with them, and like just as like while you're playing the game, you just like grab random objects and like just play around with them on the board. Like they don't have any effect on the gameplay itself,
Yeah.
other than your teammate knows the special signal, like grab the cube and spin it around in a circle or something.
Oh, true.
And so you could watch out for like what the other person's doing with the objects on their side and see if you can figure out what their tell is.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little more abstract,
It's
but
going
I think
around, but
it's possible.
Okay.
You might be able to do it.
Well, anything to play a game would be good.
Or you know, just video chat.
At this
Could always
point,
do that.
I'll take anything. But the other two games were Butthead and Golf. They're card games, and I mean, just look them up if you don't know how to play those. So those are the three card games.
Okay, golf is not a card game.
But there is a card game called Golf, and it's supposed to be really fun. And one of these days, I'll play it with someone. But, you know, that'll be the day that I find my new best friend.
Well, see, you made it happy.
Yeah, I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out there. So.
I saw a thread on Reddit. It was so random. It was just about like, actually, I think it was a response to another question. It was like such a minuscule thing, but it stuck with me for so long. But it was just a guy describing like a version of the game of War that he used to play with his brother, like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they modified War like way beyond their normal rules. Like they came up with all these different roles and stuff that each card has. And it sounded like so cool and fun. Like I remember thinking I wanted to play it like so bad after he ended up describing it. But
it's a card game or a board game that he designed.
It's the card game War.
Yeah.
You know, like
and
it was just. They basically just over the course of playing as like siblings, they just kept like vamping up the game and like changing the roles of the cards into like versions that they really liked, and like it got to the point where there was all these like roles and rules and how they like each interacted with each other. And it actually was like reading one of those really complicated card rule books, except it was like really interesting because he played. Like, there was a clear line of logic about how it evolved. Like, oh, and then the king comes up and he finds the servant, then he can order him to do something.
Okay.
It's like, it was so weird. It was just like, wow, this is fascinating. And it was just played with like a regular deck of cards.
Cool. That sounds fun.
I wish I could find
that's creative too, like being able to. That's kind of a good way to come up with like, I wonder if anybody's ever gotten like a job from that. You know, like game creation or something.
Hasbro.
You know, from like Tabletop Simulator and people like game developers go on there and try to think of new games, and they just look up like what other people have created and take their idea. Anyway.
I mean, that's kind of, I know modders get job offers sometimes, people that mod games.
Oh, yeah?
And I know that Bethesda incorporates, they both made modding like monetizable, and then they also which they took a cut of, and they also created a system where you could like monetize mods, but then they also released like their latest iteration of Fallout. I feel like, or actually it was more like Fallout 4 was I feel like definitely deriving from inspired by mods, essentially. Like the modding community. Like there was a lot of features and stuff from there that were top mods in like Fallout New Vegas, which was the game before it.
Cool. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, hopefully people, I mean, it's kind of cool, the whole content out there in the world, like people being able to develop livings from stuff like that, like getting what do you call it, like they have more exposure than they would previously before the internet and sharing existed.
I think it's a great version of like doing what you love like as a hobby, and then finding out there's a career in it. Yeah.
And hopefully that's the great thing about knowing what you love and what you are good at, and then making a living of that. I think that, I wonder how rare that is, because I know I don't have that, but I feel like a lot of people do, where they know kind of like what they love and what they're good at, and then can combine the two and have a good direction. It's like what they want to do. But yeah, that's a good inspirational way to leave off on this podcast is,
It's true.
Guys, follow your dreams. Find what you love. Find what you're good at. Combine them and make the most.
And if you don't, I think the good moral here is just take away that do what you love, even if you don't make a lot of money or whatever at it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't think that there's a big career in it. Like, game design is a really hard field to break into. But hey, if you just do it anyway and mod and like have fun, like messing around in game engines, who knows?
Yeah. And
a job might come out of
worst case
the woodwork
scenario,
for you.
you're having fun and you're doing what you love.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
you loving doing it anyway, right?
yeah. And if you guys have any recommendations for what I should do and love, let me know.
I think you should become a detective based on all of your detective shows.
Sure. I could do that.
I'd love for that.
Actually, well, I don't know if I really want to drop this on the podcast just yet, but I will mention it to you.
Here's a teaser.
It's a teaser coming soon, guys. Maybe. I do have something I'm working on in the background, but I'll save it for when it actually comes to fruition, if it does.
Maybe if you're out there and you're a sleuth, you could figure it out.
Exactly. Get on it, guys. See if you can. Nobody cares. Just focus on yourself. Do your work.
I care.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, good.
When we're done.
Oh, okay. Well, get out of here, guys. She needs to talk to me. We've got
personal
things
here to discuss here.
Yeah, guys, this is rude. We asked you to leave already. You're still here. What are you doing?
So invasive. Just get out of our life for a second.
To be
Invasive
continued.
species. You're like a grasshopper. You're like a big, plump, dim-eye grasshopper.
Do we always have to come back to the grasshopper? I mean, can I not get away from it? No.
I love you, that's why I say cheerio, not goodbye. Remember our old tune, be back soon.
I love you. Bye-bye.